Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of So Recently. I'm Matt, and I'm here with Miranda.
Hello.
And we've coming off the holidays, and thought we'd keep it a little bit lighter, a little bit breezier. So Miranda had suggested we talk about video games.
Heck yeah.
Which we've alluded to like several times that we play video games, which I assume many people do. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about our memories with games, because it's kind of a big part of, I think, both of our hobbies. So, Miranda, I guess kicking off to you, you thought of this topic initially. How did you get started with playing video games?
You know, I feel like my earliest memories of video gaming was PC.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone who grew up in like the 90s and early 2000s had a home computer that, you know, the kids always, you know, got allotted time to. But weirdly enough, the main memory I'm pulling out of my head is actually when my grandparents' house, they had a PC with like games like The Lion King.
Okay.
And for some reason, that's like, I feel like the earliest memory I have of gaming.
It's like a lot of like the PC CD games.
Yes, a lot
it's
of
like running on a
CD-ROM.
CD, like, yeah, not like incredibly budget or anything, right? Yeah.
No. I think my first, like, you know, quote unquote big game was probably like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on PC.
Okay.
I still have the CD-ROM. I have that one, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, and Quidditch World Cup.
Okay.
And those games I played, my brother sat next to me and we played those games for hours. I loved those games and I'm so upset that I can't really play them anymore.
Yeah, I know. Those games are a blast.
Those were so fun. And James has his PlayStation 2, so I'm playing like, you know, Sorcerer's Stone on PlayStation 2, which it just isn't the same as having it on PC.
Well, they're all a little different, so like kind of going very specific right away. From what I understand, like all those Harry Potter games that were made early on were all made by different developers, and so they're not all the same. Like they're all pretty different.
They're not. They're not. I was playing like the first like 20 minutes of the first game on the PlayStation. I was like, this is not in my memory wheelhouse in any way. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, my brother and I still look fondly upon our past CD-ROM games, and Quidditch World Cup and Chamber of Secrets are like the highlight for us both.
I didn't have a whole lot of the CD-ROM games. I guess I did. I had like a lot of the learning ones that they would sell at like, I don't know, like Scholastic, like book
like the
sales
book fairs
and stuff. Yeah, book fairs.
Yep.
And then I would have like other like learning based ones, I guess, because I was like 4 or 5. But then the one that I did have that was Harry Potter themed for the PC, that's in like the CD category, is like a Lego Harry Potter.
Oh.
But it's not like Lego Harry Potter. It was like this weird, I almost want to say it was like some sort of like you can build your own stuff within the system, but I don't really know what the game was. And I don't think it worked very well, at least not on our computer. It was like pretty janky. So I never really did much with it, but like you could boot it up and like I'm pretty sure like the Quidditch pitch was an area you could like build at.
This sounds fascinating. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like one of those games that I'm just like, I know this existed and I know for sure it exists. I just don't really know exactly what it is. But then like we also had like, I don't know, like Reader Rabbit, and like there was like a couple games, I don't remember what they're called, but, and this is like before we get into like actual games, I guess, but one of the games, there's like a learning game that they used to sell, like, I don't know if you remember this as a elementary school kid, but like they would sell these books for parents that would have like a bunch of different activities to do in the book to like kind of keep your kid learning throughout the summer, and then they would have these games too.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
You know? Okay. I remember they would come with like a CD to do as well, and the CD would have games and stuff, and it would be like, you know, math puzzles and stuff like that. And I remember getting to the end of one of them and then it like crashing out and then like erasing my progress because they were just janky back then.
Oh, weird.
So yeah, I just remember being kind of like bummed out about that.
Yeah,
but there's Arthur's Camping Adventure. That was a sick one, actually.
Arthur's Camping
That one
Adventure
is a good game. I was talking to somebody about that who remembered that recently, but yeah, it was a good game. You could like build a tent, and if you played on the harder difficulties, they didn't give you color matching, so you actually had to build the tent based on the framing of it. It was crazy. They had some good stuff going back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a few things that I'm sure I'm just not remembering of PC, because I remember spending a lot of time on the computer, and usually, because I have a little brother, I had to share my time with him, which really just insists.
Sure.
I feel like most of the memories would be with Harry Potter because that's what I played when I was a child. And to make it fun, I would control where we were going, but he would control the wand or something. So like that made it a little interesting.
Both get to play a little bit.
Yeah, and we didn't have like handhelds. Like our first handheld gaming stuff was like the Nintendo DS. So we were
okay.
Yeah, we didn't grow up with GameCube or Game Boy or anything like that, and the first console we had was the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And we didn't get another one until PS2.
Okay. That's not too
it's not bad.
That's not too late, right? I guess that's not a big gap.
I don't think so, but all
it's
of
a
our
whole generation, I think.
all of our friends had either the PlayStation 1 to GameCube to Xbox.
Yeah.
So, like, to me and my brother, it kind of felt like we were, like, it was, like, a big deal to go to a friend's house because they had Xbox or GameCube.
Yeah.
And that was a whole new world to us because the Super Nintendo was our dad's. And it's not like we bought any new games. So we played the same Mario Kart, Super Mario World, and there was a Star Wars game that I have.
Well, that game's hard.
Dude. we got to the level 4.
There's like a Hoth level. It's a classic, it's actually like a pretty well-known. It's like Super Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that game is like notoriously difficult.
It's
I'm pretty
so
sure.
hard.
And I remember playing that. I don't know why. This is going to sound really tragic. It's really not. But I was at some like hospital at one point, and
oh my god,
and they had a Super Nintendo. Like when I was a kid, and they
yeah.
had Super Nintendo with Super Star Wars on it. So that's the only experience I have playing that game. But there's no tragedy behind that story. I was just there. I don't remember why, but I'm sure there was a reason. But
it's fine.
It is not dramatic enough for me to internalize it. So
okay.
Clearly, but yeah, no, I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had a N64, and then I got a GameCube. Like, I don't know, it felt like forever later, but I got an N64 right at the end of like I think that generation, and then the GameCube probably like 4 years later.
Okay.
And then I don't know, it felt quick.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't that quick. It was probably like 2 years, honestly, but
yeah,
it felt like it was a while.
We got the PS2 on the tail end. Like I remember getting that, and then the PS3 was everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that happens.
we were so excited, and honestly, like I still think it's one of my favorite consoles. It's so good. It was so much fun to play on, and maybe it's because it's like that was, at a good age where I got really into gaming, like on a console. Because like until then, it was Mario. That's all I had. So this was like the first time I got to play like that's true. I mean, let's be honest. Mario is the peak. But no, it was like the first time I got to play things like my brother and I spent way too many hours playing Battlefront. Not the second one, but the first one. We played that a lot. That's when Seth got into Kingdom Hearts. And I played the second one. Like, it's just a lot of really good memories with that stuff.
Right.
It just felt like it opened the door because then all my friends, you and Nick, well, maybe not Brian, but I felt like everyone else had an Xbox. So I also felt a little special that I had a PlayStation so we could like
have different stuff.
Divvy up the playing. Yeah, it was kind of fun that way.
Yeah, I like never had a PlayStation. I want to say Dale maybe had a PlayStation 2 as well, I think, because I remember playing like Medal of Honor specifically.
Oh yeah.
Over at his place once or twice, but yeah, no, I think like going back, just like growing up, it was like I had an N64, and like my parents were pretty strict on what I could play, so like no M-rated games, no T-rated games until I was probably like 12. Well, maybe that's not true, but most, I think they were like, nah.
I can believe that.
So it's a lot of like like Mario, you've got your, basic Zelda games and stuff. And I played a lot of those until like Wii and stuff. And I think I had to like really beg and plead my parents to get an Xbox 360 when I ended up getting it. And then Halo, I just told them it was robots. I just said it was robots, It's not robots, it's people in suits. But
No, it's robots.
But
it's robots.
It worked out. It was okay. So I got to play some games, but yeah, do you have like I guess you mentioned a few of them, but like any games that stood out as like, yeah, this is like one of the first games I ever played on like SNES or something that's like, oh, that game was sick. Like that's kind of what got me interested in the hobby, or was that like PS2?
I mean, Super Mario World, my brother and I, again, spent hours playing through those maps. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the first time, because like, I'm not the best at gaming. That might be surprising to some, but platformers I seem to be okay at, and I think it's all because I played so much Mario when I was a child. And it was fun, because I like, you got to play with again, brother was there with me, so 2-player, let's go. Let's get all the way through the map and go get Bowser. It was a lot of fun, and it was one of those games where you could play to a certain level and then save and then walk away, which was way better than Star Wars, because Super Star Wars didn't let you do that. And to this day, I will never forgive that game, because my brother and I get to like level 4 or 5, and we're like, you're so drained by the time you get there. You're just like, if I die,
it's over.
That's
for me.
it. And
yeah, it's interesting because like a lot of those SNES games, like they're just like brutal. Like some of the old classic games are just brutal, and like now there's a lot of games that I play that are like specifically almost in that category of like, this game is hard, it's tough as nails, you're gonna hate it. Like any of the Dark Souls games.
Yeah, right? I was gonna say Dark Souls,
Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Sekiro. Like those games are all like kind of, hit your head against a wall until you break something, right?
Yep. More likely your brain.
Yeah. And I love those games, but like it definitely, those games are like easier than some of those Super Nintendo games, in my opinion. I mean, maybe not.
I agree.
Maybe not everybody thinks so, but like some of those old platformers are just really just mean. And they
pixel worth of like misses or something. Like it's like you look at something, you're like, that hit the bat. Why did it?
It should have worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and you even, whenever you die and it like freeze frames, and then you can see like, but it hit the bad guy. I should have won. And then instead it's like, it got you and it's like right below you. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. I never had what's kind of interesting is like, I didn't have an SNES or an NES growing up. So my first console was like a 3D, like N64, which like all the games were like 3D for. So like I don't have a whole lot of like 2D era nostalgia, whereas like a lot of people do. I feel like I remember, it might have been Dale back in the day, was like, oh yeah, everything was better on Atari, which is like definitively not true.
No.
My I don't know, come at me in the comments. I don't think many.
I've never played Atari, so I cannot come at you.
Yeah, I know you won't, but I'm saying for people who maybe are listening who are like, yeah, Atari games are sick, like, okay, glad you liked them, but
whatever you say.
But yeah, no, I basically like started with, I think like not Super Mario, Mario 64, and then I think the other thing I played was like Ocarina of Time, which was like the one that was like, oh, this is sick, but
yep.
I can't believe I almost just completely blanked on the obvious one. Banjo-Tooie was really the game that I
almost forgot it.
That would be the game that I would say is probably like the game that got me into games and the game I was most psyched about as a kid. And like honestly, still like if they announced Banjo 3, I would lose my freaking mind. It's like definitely the thing I would love to see more than anything. Because yeah, I like got that game as a kid. I think that's the main reason I got an N64 is because at Target they had a display kiosk that had the demo for Banjo.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this game is like, I never played really games before that, like quite honestly hadn't played much at all. I was like, this is incredible, like this is so cool. And yeah, and it took me forever to beat that game. It's huge, especially as a kid. It's massive. And yeah, that really got me into like console gaming.
Heck yeah.
I have a lot of affinity for that game. Like I just love it. And my parents will say it taught me how to read because they got the not the instruction manual, like the game guides or whatever. They used to sell strategy guides, and I would just like read it front to back. So I like knew how to beat the game. Cool. Like I knew how to beat the game like way before I ever beat it, but it was like hard or whatever as a kid for me to do.
Yeah, well you're a child.
Yeah, but I like knew the whole process. I was like, yeah, you do all this stuff and then that's how you get it. That's how you get to the end. That's awesome. When you get to the final boss, you do all this. But
so what we're both kind of saying is Mario, Zelda were like the two big ones. I didn't actually play my first Zelda game until it was on the Wii. I played Twilight Princess.
Oh, I like Twilight Princess a lot. People don't love it, but I like it a lot. I think it's great.
It was my first experience in it, and I was like, okay, for my first time.
The vibes are great.
The vibes are cool, but this is getting a little off tangent. I had I lovingly referred to as my education time with you and Nick, where we played through all of the Zeldas, or most of the Zeldas.
Most of the 3D Zeldas. I think we played all the 3D Zeldas outside of Breath of the Wild. I don't think we went through because that game's...
Yeah, we didn't...
It's too long.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah. But that was fun because, like, that was, what, a couple years ago now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was, like, the only other time I've played, like, Zelda. So that was pretty fun. But I feel like if I had, like, GameCube or something growing up, I feel like Zelda would have been like my game.
Oh yeah, it's built for you, Miranda. It's like
absolutely love it.
Like person runs around with swords, like fantasy setting. They can cast. I mean, there's like characters with magic.
Some puzzling, but not like too.
The puzzles are the combat's not like crazy either. Like it's like challenging, but not like crazy challenging at all. It's like enough to. I feel like
I missed out.
Yeah, you got to go back and play them again. They're great. They're a ton of fun.
I know. They're so much fun, and now that I have a Switch, I feel like I could. Right?
Yeah, there's enough of them that are on there. I don't have a ton of like 2D Zelda I really don't care about, but it's also just because I didn't grow up with it. I'm sure if I had, I would have been like, yeah, this is great too. But the 3D Zelda's where it was at for me. You said you didn't really have a handheld till the DS.
Yeah.
I had a Game Boy. My dad had an old Game Boy that I still actually have. It's like a big brick. I don't know if you've ever seen like these old Game Boys, but they're these massive like gray blocks.
With the red and yellow buttons?
Yeah, it's just yeah, they're huge. I'm just showing it to the camera, which no one can see, but it's like the size of my hand, and it's
maybe next year we can do a video portion of the podcast or something.
Yeah, and or at least something. So I mean, I'm sure people have seen a Game Boy, but yeah, it's kind of busted now. But I played a lot of like old Mario on it. I think I had Super Mario Land 2. It was great.
Matt, I just had like a brain blast.
What's up?
Handheld games. It technically was a handheld and it was technically a game, but there was this thing my dad had that was like a football game.
Yeah.
But everything was just little dots.
It's like a Game and Watch type thing.
Kinda, yeah. Sorry, I just had that like, oh my god, stuff that I spent so much time on that.
They used to sell like a lot of like those like they don't really do it. Well, maybe they do, but like the all-in-one, like 25 games in one, like weird. You buy a controller with a screen on it, and you plug it into the wall outlet, and that plays games or stuff. Like, there's like a lot of those weird little things that they don't really have a market for anymore. I assume because of phones. I've seen some of this stuff before. It's like old school games.
That thing was so hard because everything was just blips and like dots. So it was hard to be like, okay, is that me or not? Oh, yep, it's me. I'm moving. Like it. Wow, I just had like.
I remember at one point because I had a few. I think my dad had maybe a few of those sorts of things too. But the Game Boy was really exciting, and then I remember one time I went on a trip to Chicago with my parents, and we took a train, and there was like a kid on the train who was older than me, so it's like some girl on the train who was like maybe like 8, and she had a Game Boy Advance, and had Game Boy Advance, and she had Pokemon, and I just like watched her play Pokemon the whole train ride, and I was like, this is the life, This is what I want to do. And I literally didn't even like get to play the game. She didn't like offer it to me, not even once. But watched her play the game.
Wow.
Fair enough though. I wouldn't either probably. But yeah, she like had this Game Boy and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I got a Game Boy Advance, and like a lot of the games that I remember playing as a kid were Game Boy Advance and like, I don't know, GameCube, and then like some of the N64 games that I had just in that overlapping time.
Dude, I'm now thinking about like when I was growing up and I'd go to our friend's Brian, his house, and we'd play GameCube. Either we'd play like Super Mario Super Strikers or
I was gonna say Lord of the Rings, like, Two Towers.
Two Towers. Oh, dude, it was so fun. Those are the main things we played, and what a time.
It is crazy. There's like a lot of old games that are pretty great, but then there's a lot that were really junk too. I don't know.
Oh, 100%.
I had one of the games that I was like, I don't know. I just thought it was like a bigger thing than I think it ever was, but Glover on the N64. Do you know what this is?
No.
They're actually redoing it. I just saw that there's some new release coming out for it. It's like they're porting it or whatever, so it's not like it's like they're remastering and redoing the whole engine or anything, but you're essentially a glove with a ball, and the whole game is you're trying to get the ball to different areas on the map to get through levels.
Okay.
But like the hand can like do different things, so like you can like slap the ball, you can like take the ball and drag it. It's horrible. It's one of the worst games ever made, maybe.
Oh, this looks
terrible.
Terrifying.
It's terrible. It's incredibly hard. There's like platforming sections where you're supposed to bounce the ball and then bounce it onto moving platforms. Yeah, that's the one.
That's terrifying.
It's incredible. You should look into it. It's not a great game, but like, I'm not saying just like watch a video. Don't play it. Just like watch a video. it like is like very specific to like the memories I have of gaming as a kid. And I used to have like a N64 in my room with like a TV mounted on the wall, like one of those big like CRT TVs. So it was actually sick because I got to play it a decent amount. It was a blast.
That's cool.
But Glover wasn't a blast. Just playing N64 in my room. Glover sucked. Don't play Glover.
Don't play Glover. Okay, you heard it here first, everybody. Don't play Glover.
Yeah.
Did you ever play like Guitar Hero or Band Hero?
I liked Guitar Hero. I didn't. You mean Rock Band?
What did I say?
Yeah, you said Band Hero.
Oh.
But I mean, you're on the right track.
Sure, that.
Yeah. Guitar Hero, I had. Yes, Guitar Hero 2 and 3. Well, I had 3. My friend had 2. My friend Ryan had 2. So I played a lot of it, and yeah, I played a decent amount. I got decent at it, but I don't think I could do any of it now. I tried to play it a while back, and it was really hard. I think you were there. It was like you, me, and Brian were trying to play it a while back. And it was like
right.
incredibly hard.
Yeah.
But I like Guitar Hero. I didn't really like Rock Band. I didn't think it was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't like the look of it.
No, we had that on the Wii. Yes, that would be right.
Yeah, Guitar Hero 3 for sure came out on the Wii.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe Rock Band as well.
We had Rock Band. We never had the guitar. We weren't cool. We didn't have the Guitar Hero.
People like Rock Band more.
Do they?
Well, some people like Rock Band more. Some people like Guitar Hero more. I just like Guitar Hero. Rock Band would be cool if I had a sibling, but I didn't. So
right, maybe that's
Guitar Hero
fun.
was like all I really needed because it was just like, okay, it's just me playing guitar.
That's true. Yeah, it was fun when like Seth and I would, put on a performance, whether one of us was singing or trying to do the drums. Neither one of us were good at that, but it was fun. For some reason that also came to my mind because there's something I haven't thought about in so long, but I would classify that as my childhood because I don't know when it came out, probably early 2000s.
Yeah. Like 2006-ish.
Yeah, but
maybe.
It was also the first time I had something that was, not console or not like connected to a controller in some way. It was like, it was a little more. It was definitely different. I think that was the first game that was, kind of. The Wii came out, but I didn't have a lot of games that required a lot of movement from the Wii. We were
that was
boring. The most I had was like Zelda with the Twilight Princess, where I can go ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
But everything else was kind of like you could just kind of move around and maybe do a little flip. But that was the first time it was, the controller is the guitar. Like that was kind of fun.
Yeah, they don't make them really anymore. I think I had heard something about them maybe making a new Guitar Hero, but they had tried a couple years back and it wasn't very popular. I also I'm not interested. I think the timing was just off. I think that was a moment and now that moment's passed.
It's passed, so we need to stop now.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future it'll come back. Maybe, future generations will look back and go, oh, that would be sick. Let's do that.
Yeah. I do feel like the biggest game I can think of as the game I was obsessed with has to be, beyond Banjo-Tooie, which I mentioned is iconic to my childhood, is Pokemon.
Oh, yes.
The old school Pokemon. So I played a lot of I had Pokemon Blue and I still have the cartridge and I think it's dead and I don't know what's wrong with it. I thought it was working and now it's just nothing turns on when I try it. So that's a bummer. But then I had Pokemon Sapphire, which I lost, which again, this is another bummer trend. But then I got Pokemon Emerald and Leaf Green and those games work and I still have them and they're great and they're actually worth a lot of money now because I don't know, Pokemon games are expensive. So
yeah, Pokemon.
But those classic ones are so much fun and I played I think at one point I had a save with 250 hours on Pokemon Emerald and
whoa.
Yeah, it was sick. That and on handheld for sure is the biggest one for sure.
Oh yeah, easily. I feel like I would have been a big Pokemon gamer person if I had a Game Boy. Because when I was that age, I was collecting the cards and I was a big Pokemon fan. And I know my cousins had the Game Boys and they had Pokemon and they rarely let me and my brother play with it. And I was like, that seems unnecessarily mean to us, but sure. But yeah, I feel like if I had a Game Boy, that's what I would have turned into. So I feel like maybe it's a good thing that I didn't.
Yeah, Pokemon could have easily become your life.
It would have been Pokemon and Zelda. That's all I would have been playing. Man.
Yeah, I played a ton of Pokemon, and then basically there's a friend of mine I used to go over to his house in the summers because my parents went to work and there's just other people there, so it was not just me sitting at home. And so I'd go over to his place and him and his brother who I would hang out with would always be sleeping for the first few hours I was there. So I would just play Pokemon Emerald for the first 2-3 hours and then they would wake up, They would do whatever, and then eventually we would play Smash Brothers
Oh
for
man.
hours. And I don't know if there's any game that I played more than anything else. It's Smash Brothers for sure.
We play. I mean, you and I and our friends have played probably way too many hours of Smash Bros.
I'm almost certain if I counted the hours, it's probably like 3,000 or 4,000 hours in my life.
I feel like I mean, every time we hung out, which was almost daily, we would go into Nick's basement or, even at Brian's, he had it too. Like, we would play Smash Bros. That was fun.
It was big. It's good times.
That was a really good time.
Unfortunately, I kind of feel like Smash Bros is one of those like relic games too, where like I really enjoy the new Smash Bros, but it's like for when you were like coming home from school, like it hits a little different now. It's not like something I haven't opened it in years, but it's a great game. Incredible.
It's a great game. It's also
wish I could play more.
It's something that I don't want to play online with. I want to be like have a group of friends over and
with your
play
buds.
it. Yeah, and like have people screaming like, they're in the corner, get them.
Yeah.
And it's like, classic.
They're doing nothing.
They're doing nothing. Get them. Oh, hey guys, Brian's got full health. Let's change that.
He has three lives. Don't let him keep doing this.
Yeah. Then everyone turns on him. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's a great game. Yeah, I miss a lot of the classic games, but I play a decent amount of games. I definitely play way less than I did as a kid.
Yeah, same.
But I know we're gonna talk about other games down the road, probably of like current and like different interests and hobbies with video games.
I feel like we'll definitely be talking more about video games in a future episode.
Well, unfortunately, it's like one of the hobbies that I think is just like it's always going to be a topic, so it could always come up at any point in this podcast.
Definitely.
But fortunately and unfortunately, because I mean, I don't know how many, if we want to make this a video game podcast, which we don't, but I'm sure it'll come up more than twice.
Probably, yes.
It is a hobby that we both participate in quite a bit. Any other, like, I guess, memories of, like, classic games, I guess, to kind of wrap this up? I'm trying to think. I mean, I talked a lot about, like, the games I played on Game Boy and 64.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what other games besides, because like, we only had a few on Super Nintendo. PC was mostly Harry Potter for me. That was the best time. And then like for PlayStation 2, I played mostly whenever my brother wanted to play, which so meant we played a lot of Battlefront, or I would watch him play Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
I was the sister that got her brother into Kingdom Hearts. I bought the second one because I was told by the guy at Target that it's better than the first one, and I went, okay.
Yeah, I can't verify anything with Kingdom Hearts. I have no clue what's going on in those games.
Neither does my brother, and he's played every single game. So yeah, I've asked him for a rundown, and he was like,
how much time do you have? Yeah.
But no, I can't think of anything else that sticks out. Like Need for Speed. Played a lot of Need for Speed.
I had Need for Speed Underground.
Oh, that's sick. We didn't have Tony Hawk, actually. I had friends that had Tony Hawk, so I didn't get to play it. And, no, we had even better. We had Disney Skate. Yeah.
I'm not going to say that's better.
That's better. Dude, you could be Simba and skateboard. All right? That's
what's not to love?
What's not to love? No, it was that one was like silly, and Seth and I put so much time into that game as well because it was just something we could, chill, and that was like our chit chat game. We would sit down and talk while we were skating, like just did free skate in all the different worlds. Like that was fun. Yeah, I like that one
for sure. I don't know if there's anything else that really sticks out. It's not really a retro game, but I mean Halo 3. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
It is retro, I guess now, which is incredible.
We're old, Matt.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's another topic. I don't want to just end Halo 3 like that. It deserves more time in the spotlight. It's
Halo in general could just be a topic.
Oh yeah, I love. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on Halo.
I know. It could be a topic.
Yeah, but the one thing I guess I'll just conclude it with was just a recent thing I wanted to tell you about. I was on Instagram just scrolling through just junk,
as you do.
I saw a thing that was like looking back at retro games that are still kicking, like Fortnite, and I was like, all right, I'm old.
Fortnite is retro now?
Yeah, I guess so for some people. Imagine Miranda. Imagine it's like when I turned 18 and I was like, yo, I remember playing Super Smash Bros. Melee back in kid. That's retro. It's the same idea. It's been out for 7 years. Yeah,
Oh,
just wanted to hit you with that when we wrap up the retro
oh
conversation
my god.
by ruining your day. So,
All right.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Had to do it to you, but it's pretty messed up. But I guess everything's retro if you give it time. So
That's true. I mean, think about Minecraft.
yeah, that's retro now.
Yeah.
I played that in high school.
Yeah, that's real
Yeah.
retro now, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a
Yeah.
good game
I
too.
still think it's so good. I love that game.
I haven't played it in quite a long time, but
Same,
it
but-
is kind of like one of those like evergreen games for the most part. So yeah, well, I guess it was a fun, initial topic with video games. I'm sure we'll get back to it at some point here
Oh,
with
100%.
recent games. I don't know. The games I play now are just like so sporadic and
Yeah.
then so specific. So I think that'll be fun because we can go a little bit more in the weeds with topics.
Yeah.
We can do spooky games in October when we get there again as we're cycling back around the year. So
That'd be fun.
yeah, it should be a good time. But any, thoughts? Last thoughts on retro games? Do you recommend?
Do I recommend retro
our-
gaming? Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Go play games that we played, and
Yeah, you haven't played all the games, so
you haven't played all
you
the
always
games.
can find more.
There's so many games that you can play,
Infinite.
and so many games that are, I think, still hold up to this day. There's definitely games out there.
And then there's games that don't, like Glover.
Yeah,
but,
don't play Glover. Just don't. It's terrifying looking.
Yeah, just check it out, maybe. I don't know. But yeah. But cool. Well, thanks for hopping on and sharing with the audience. We'll be back again with another episode where I will propose a topic and we can go from there. But thank you all for listening. And I'm Matt.
I'm Miranda.
And this has been So Recently. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye, guys.